We've got a really fascinating challenge on our hands today in this explainer. We're talking about modernizing the wealth management tech stack, which is already a massive undertaking, but doing it without running afoul of some of the strictest industry regulations out there. It's a complete architectural shift. Today, we're going to explore exactly how top firms are building the 2026 enterprise-grade AI wealth management chatbot. It's this incredible journey that has to perfectly balance cutting-edge innovation with ironclad compliance, and it's literally going to redefine how financial advisors interact with their data and, of course, their clients.
Okay, let's dive into this. $124 trillion. That staggering number represents the impending generational wealth transfer we're expecting by 2048. Think about it. Wealth is rapidly moving into the hands of younger, digitally native investors. They don't just want good returns, they expect hyper-personalized, instant, frictionless digital experiences. But at the exact same time, the wealth management industry is facing a shrinking, aging pool of advisor talent. The math just doesn't work if firms stick to the old manual ways of doing things. The industry is being forced to adapt. And AI? Well, it's pretty much the only scalable bridge between that massive incoming wealth and the actual capacity of tomorrow's advisors.
So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the AI wealth management shift. Then we'll walk through Phase 1, strategy and data. Phase 2, pilot and technology. Phase 3, scale and compliance. And finally, Phase 4, transformation and innovation.
Let's start with Section 1, the AI wealth management shift.
Across the industry, the most successful firms have completely abandoned the idea of a big bang technological overhaul. It's just too risky. Instead, they're adopting this proven four-phase implementation model: strategy, pilot, scale, and transformation. It's all built on a single core principle, which is progressive value delivery with built-in risk mitigation. You don't rip and replace your entire system overnight. You build and scale it methodically.
That brings us to Section 2, Phase 1, strategy and data.
If you take absolutely nothing else away from this first phase, remember this: dirty data produces toxic outputs. Centralizing your client records and consolidating fragmented systems are absolute prerequisites. I mean, in a lot of firms, a single client's data might live across 10 or more disconnected custodial platforms and CRMs. If you feed that scattered, messy data into an AI, its mistakes are going to scale instantly. You've also got to evaluate your cloud tech stack security and take a hard look at the digital literacy of your advisors. Because if your team is skeptical or just untrained, even the most brilliant AI chatbot is going to completely fail to gain adoption.
Moving right along to Section 3, Phase 2, pilot and technology.
This is where we step away from the whiteboard and get into the server room. The really interesting concept here is RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. Even if you're a non-technical executive, you definitely need to know this term. Think of a large language model, like ChatGPT for instance, as a highly capable, incredibly articulate brain. But out of the box, that brain doesn't know a thing about your firm's specific clients or your compliance rules. RAG is the framework that connects that brain to your firm's specific private index of knowledge. It literally forces the AI to read your vetted financial data before it answers a prompt, which drastically reduces those weird AI hallucinations and guarantees accuracy.
Now, to make RAG actually work, you need a highly specialized place to store that index. That's where cloud-based vector databases come into play, tools like Pinecone, Weaviate, or Milvus. See, they don't store data like a traditional Excel spreadsheet. They store what are called high-dimensional embeddings. Basically, these are mathematical representations of your incredibly complex financial documents, meeting notes, and market research. These databases act as that perfectly organized index, letting the AI chatbot instantly search and retrieve the exact right context for whatever the advisor is asking.
So the crucial point is knowing exactly where AI excels and where it completely falls flat. This comparison right here is pretty much the golden rule for 2026 wealth tech. Generative AI is probabilistic. It is absolutely ideal for language, things like summarizing research, drafting client emails, and interpreting messy, unstructured meeting notes. But it should never be used for exact math. Deterministic, rules-based systems are absolutely mandatory for calculating things like fees, portfolio balances, and asset drift. The AI's job is to explain the numbers, not to calculate them from scratch. If you blur that line, you're inviting massive regulatory and client risk.
And because we are dealing with really high-stakes financial decisions here, trust is everything. That is why explainable AI, or XAI, is a mandatory feature for these 2026 enterprise dashboards. XAI provides these transparent design overlays. When the chatbot makes a recommendation, it doesn't just hand you an answer like magic, it shows you exactly how it got there,
It gives you the data lineage, the specific sources it pulled from, and its confidence levels. Giving advisors the why behind predictive insights builds immense trust, both for the advisors using the system and the clients actually receiving the advice.
Of course, to make all this sophisticated tech usable, it has to be packaged beautifully. These specific AI UX design patterns are essential for creating an intuitive dashboard. Forget clunky drop-down menus. Advisors will use conversational query interfaces to ask natural questions like, hey, which of my clients are exposed to this sudden market shift? The interface then responds with predictive insight cards that forecast trends. These are tailored via adaptive role-aware layouts depending on who is actually looking at the screen. And finally, action-driven workflows let the advisor click a button right inside the chat to automatically draft a follow-up or trigger a rebalancing workflow.
All right, on to Section 4. Phase 3, Scale and Compliance.
Building a cool pilot is one thing, but let's be real. If the compliance officers aren't happy, the project dies right here. To ease those regulatory anxieties, your AI tools need specific features, like what we see in specialized platforms like Fellow. For instance, botless recording captures meetings without having some intimidating AI avatar lurking on the client's screen, which really helps with consent and comfort. Workspace auto-deletion automatically wipes raw recordings after a set period to keep you in line with strict SCC retention rules. Then you have content redaction, allowing admins to scrub sensitive health information for HIPAA compliance or remove material non-public information from transcripts. And naturally, the whole shebang has to run on a SOC 2 Type 2 architecture, which is the absolute gold standard for enterprise data security.
But alongside those technical controls, you also need strict operational controls. The human-in-the-loop mandate is your ultimate safeguard here. The chatbot does not have the autonomy to execute trades or blast emails to clients on its own. The AI suggests, it drafts, it summarizes, but a licensed human advisor always reviews, perfects, and executes. It's a setup that perfectly protects the firm from autonomous errors while still letting you capture the massive time-saving benefits of automation.
Finally, Section 5, Phase 4, Transformation and Innovation.
This is the phase where AI shifts from just being a novel tool to becoming the very fabric of the firm's daily operations. And this brilliantly illustrates the massive operational ROI you achieve once successful scaling occurs. When an AI chatbot is fully integrated, the metrics are frankly staggering. Look at the impact on prospecting alone. Leads increase by 50% because the AI is constantly humming in the background, surfacing hidden connections and prioritizing your outreach. Meanwhile, the manual time an advisor spends generating those leads is cut by 40%. That is pure reclaimed time that goes directly back into actual client relationship building.
But perhaps the most exciting part of this whole transformation is the cultural shift. I absolutely love this real-world anecdote from an advisor reflecting on their firm's new AI tools. They said, "This is the worst version of AI we'll ever use." Now, that's not a complaint. It's actually a profound realization. It fosters this culture of ongoing innovation, reminding the entire team that the technology is iterating incredibly rapidly. Today's chatbot is merely the baseline. It is literally only going to get faster, smarter, and more capable from here.
Which leaves us with one final provocative question to wrap up our journey today. You can nail the technology, your data can be perfectly centralized, your vector databases can be humming along, and your bot can be completely locked down by compliance. But is your firm culturally ready to trust its new AI copilot? Because the technology is ready today, for sure. The real transformation, however, is a human one. It's about managing change, building digital literacy, and truly empowering your advisors to step into the future of wealth management. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I really hope this roadmap helps you navigate your own AI journey.